thank you for joining us this morning to learn a little bit more about the Community Foundation's High Five grant program. We get a lot of questions about this grant program every year because it's different than many of our traditional grant programs, and so we thought maybe hosting a Zoom would give us an opportunity to share with you why we created this program and how it works, and then also give you the opportunity to ask questions about how to make a successful High Five request. So first, I want to introduce our team that's on the call. I'm Julia Wood. I am the Vice President of Development and Donor Services. And so when it comes to the High Five program, my primary role is working with our donors who see your requests and are deciding what they want to support from their own funds. Darius Maynard is with us. He's our program officer. Many of you know him if you've applied for other grants from the Community Foundation in the past. He runs all of our competitive grant programs that are eligible for nonprofits to apply to. And he is the technical point of contact for the grant portal. So if you have questions about your account and logging in and how to get to the application and all of those things, he's going to show you a little bit more about that this morning. But wanted to make sure that you knew who he was. And I'm not sure if many of you have had the chance to meet Catherine Rhodes yet in person. She is our foundation associate, and she, one of the parts of her job is working on our weekly grants for our donor advised fund holders. And so she's the person behind the scenes that is processing the grant when a donor says that they want to fund something that you've requested. So just wanted to give them an opportunity each to say good morning and make sure that you knew kind of what our roles were in this program. So Darius, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Not at all. That's it, but good morning, everybody. Good to see everyone this morning.
Yes, and good morning. Good to see you all.
I'm going to share my screen for just a second. Oops, Darius is sharing his screen. Hang on. Just to show you where on our website the information about the grant guidelines are. These have not changed since last year. So if you're familiar with the High Five program in the past, these are kind of the eligibility guidelines, what you can ask for, and so we'll go through those. But I thought I'd start by just telling you a little bit about why we created this program. So the Community Foundation is comprised of lots of funds that are set up by individual donors, and they use those funds to support the things that they're interested in. And many of our donors come to us and ask for suggestions on specific needs that fit into their areas of interest. And so this was a way to, ask you as nonprofits for what you need, and then to present those in a format to our donors who can then choose and look through the list and decide what they want to fund. So it's really about connecting needs with donors. And so the name High Five is kind of a dual name. High Five is a nod to high five, meaning 5,000 is the most that you can ask for. That's the limit. But also a high five like you're giving someone a high five, like they are giving you accolades for your work and the mission that you do in our community. So that's kind of the genesis of it. This is our 4th year of the program, and we receive lots of requests every year, and our donors fund a ton of requests. I think last year they funded more than $100,000 in needs for local nonprofits. So it's really exciting for us to see behind the scenes when you post something that you need and then they choose to support it. So kind of big picture, eligibility guidelines and criteria: you must be a 501c3 because these grants are coming from donor advised funds, and your organization must be in the Community Foundation's 21 county territory, which I think many of you already are. And then what can you ask for? Well, the item has to be tangible, so you can't ask for program support, operating support, salaries, things like that. And it has to be, you can make 1, 2, or 3 requests, but in aggregate, your request cannot exceed $5,000. So you can make one $5,000 request, or you could make 2 $2,500 requests, or you could make 3 requests, $1,000, $2,000, $2,000, depending on what you're asking for and what you need. But the most you can ask for is up to 3 items and total $5,000. The other important part of this is that the amount that you request has to be able to fully fund the tangible item that you want. And so think of it like, when we were kids, it was the Sears catalog, but now it's Amazon wish lists. Our donors are going to look down this list and they want to be able to make a grant and fully fund whatever the need is that you have. They don't want to partially fund it and then leave you having to come up with additional money. So it's kind of like a wish list, if you will. And the timing of it really is geared toward that too. With it being the end of the year, what we do is we take your requests and we publish them to our donors, many of whom have families that get together over Thanksgiving and Christmas and the end of the year holidays and make decisions talking with their family about philanthropy. So kind of think about it from that respect. And then also think about it from that respect, when you're writing your request, you want to give enough information that they know what you need, but make it short enough that when they're looking at a list of hundreds of items that you haven't written, a book. Let's see. Other questions. So the timeline, the grant deadline is October 15th. And Darius is going to talk to you a little bit more about the actual application process. But the timeline is your requests are in by October 15th, and then we validate all of them. We publish them to our donors in November and December so that they can recommend grants for the things that they're interested in. And then if you submitted a request and you haven't received a grant by January 15th, at that point you can kind of assume that it's probably not going to happen. That's when we'll turn it off for our donors. We give them kind of through the new year to look through all of the requests, but at that point most of the grants have slowed down. So I'll stop there. I know I've talked a lot. Darius is going to tell you a little bit about where the application is this year. It's in a different place than where it was last year for those who applied. And so he's going to walk you through that, and then we will have some time for question and answers at the end.
All right, thank you, Julia. Let's see here. Hoping that everyone can see my screen. Should be able to see it to the grants portal. All right, good morning again, everyone. So this year we have made a significant update to our application process. So the High Five grant application has now moved to our main grants portal. This change aims to streamline the process and make it easier for you to submit your applications. To apply for the grant, you will need an account in our grants portal, which is what you see on the screen here. And looking down the participants list, I do believe that most of you already have an account. But if not, it's very easy to make one. Once you get to the grants portal, just click create new account, fill in all the necessary information. Make sure you click through the tabs or just click next. It may not let you go through, but click through all the tabs and then submit your account. There is no wait period after you submit it. There's no processing period. So as soon as you create it, you're able to start applying. Okay. Jump ship here to a different screen. All right. So let's assume I've created my account or I already have an account created. Once I log into the grants portal, this is the screen that I will see. So currently I don't have any active requests or any historical requests because I've never applied for a grant before. So what I want to do first is click the apply button. As soon as I click the apply button, the first application I'm going to see is the High Five grant program, and it's accepted submissions starting on September 23rd, all the way up until October 15th. I'm simply going to click the apply button. And then begin filling in all the information as requested. Now you will notice that this is probably one of our shortest applications that you will ever see. And that is correct. That's how we wanted it. That's how we want to make sure that we provide it to our donors. So don't feel like you have to overload or, as Julia mentioned, write an entire book. Keep your request simple, but make it to where it's understandable. And that is a tip for making a successful request. All right. Again, as Julia stated, she just showed you the High Five grant guidelines. I would review those before applying once more, just to make sure that my requests aren't going over $5,000 and that there's not more than 3 requests. To make sure that you are meeting those eligibility requirements. All right. For your grant description, please clearly outline your project's goals. and how it will align with your mission to move your mission forward. And as always, we would love to add a picture of the thing that you're requesting so that we can add it to the portal so that donors can see what it is that you're wanting so they can fund it if they would like. And the last thing that I would say is please keep in mind the application deadline. This year, the deadline is October 15th. So make sure to submit your application by this date to be considered. And now that we have covered the basics of the application, we can open the floor for any questions that you may have. And I will stop sharing. Julia, Kathy, y'all have anything else about the application before I move on?
I don't think so. The application is intentionally very short. And if you have two or three things that you're submitting, you would fill it out more than once for each of the items. I will say that creative, compelling things, items are most likely to get funded. And if you can include a picture of the item, that's great. If you can't, your logo, your organization's logo will suffice, but it's better to have a visual when it's printed in the catalog or published in the catalog that goes out to our donors. And really, I mean, I know the temptation anytime that there's a maximum amount you can ask for is to ask for the maximum amount, but I would tell you that items that are smaller in value sometimes get funded more quickly because every one of our donors kind of has a different amount available that they can for their grant making in a year. And so you think about, you know, having some options in terms of the sizes of the requests of the items that you need. And we had some organizations last year that said, you know, what we really need are these STEM Lego kits. And they put, we need $5,000 worth of STEM Lego kits. And our suggestion to them was to break that up into 3 requests, even if they were all 3 STEM Lego kits, to make, you know, one of them, like one kit costs $500, but 2 kits cost $2,000, and, you know, or whatever, so that $1,000, so that multiple donors could fund parts of their need if they wanted to. So that was just something that we learned last year, but would love to hear your questions about the program. To stay on or ask questions, we'll be here, but thank you all for joining us.
All right. Thank you for the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you for making that application short.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy your day.
Thank you, you too.